So, good morning to you, Friendship Village. This is the voice of Friendship Village coming at you today. We're here in a special undisclosed location, interviewing two important people. So, and you'll get to meet them shortly. So this segment of our podcast, The Voice of Friendship Village, is being brought to you by the Village Lane Dietary. No, the Village Lane Food Service. Mary keeps prompting me to say food service. Okay. Thank you, Mary. That is an announcement that we're into a Trivia Pursuit segment of our podcast. Now, we all remember the Flintstones, don't we? Back in the 1960s and several years after that. Fred and Wilma Flintstone, Barney. Remember Fred saying, "Yabba dabba doo." So anyway, I've come across some information about their program, and I have a couple of trivia questions to propose. I'll just throw out the questions. You rack your brain, see if you can find the answer, and at the end of our program, before we close, I'll give you the exact answers. So question number one. What is the name of the prehistoric town where they lived? Okay. And question number two. What were the names of their two children? There's a boy and a girl. Okay. So that is Trivia Pursuit. Okay, Mary, anything you'd like to say at this juncture?
I'm just ready to introduce our guest.
Okay, but first, can I do a joke?
Yes.
Can I do a joke?
Do we have a choice?
No. This is a story about my cousin Charlie. He came back to Waterloo for a visit. So he went by the house that he grew up in, and he went up to the front door and knocked and talked to the people and asked them if he could come in and kind of look around. And they said, no. And then they slammed the door in his face. Boy, Charlie's parents sure can be rude.
Oh my.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mary, for allowing me that. So now, interview time.
All right. Today we are interviewing a married couple. Now this is our first time of doing this type of a program. And we're very happy to introduce Frank and Jeanne Alexander, who live here on the top floor of Village Lane. And we're happy to come over here and interview them, find out what their life has been like all these years. So we'll start with Jeanne. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Dunkerton, Iowa, and went to school, graduated, and went on to work at the telephone company.
Very good. And Frank, where were you born and raised?
I was born in northeast Nebraska, a small town called Laurel, Nebraska, and only lived there until I was about 10 years old because Dad got sick and we had to give up the farm, and so we moved to Missouri, and then I went to high school in Missouri, Gallatin, Missouri.
Okay.
Graduated and went on to?
No, graduated, and then I went to farming for myself. I did that for 5 years, and I was farming in partnership with a fellow that I won't mention his name, but he starved me out, and so after 5 years I gave it up and went into the livelihood of making a living by the month, you know.
Okay.
And you got married?
Got married, had 4 children, and then my wife died. And we've been married, I had been married 20 years and 9 days. And then through some friends of ours, I met Jeanne on a blind date, and the rest of the story speaks for itself.
Very good. I think you're a very well matched couple.
Thank you.
I think Jeannie's a saint for having put up with,
yes.
What's his name? Yes.
God, they can't see me.
So then you settled in Waterloo?
Yes. After a friend of mine came down when my wife died, this friend of mine who he was a supervisor at Deere, came down to see us because I had known him for quite a long years. And he came down to see me and told me, he says, if you want to come back to Waterloo, I will get you a job at John Deere. And I did, and he did. And so then I worked at Deere's and the rest of my working life.
And weren't you in law enforcement for a while?
Yes, that was before I moved here. I was still living in Missouri. I was a deputy sheriff for 3 years.
Oh.
I loved it. But that was during the period also when my wife died, and so I had 4 kids to take care of by myself, and that just didn't work.
Okay. Well, I had heard you were in the law enforcement, so have to bring that in a little bit.
Okay.
So then you and Jeannie set up housekeeping in Waterloo.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
With just 2 of the children.
Yeah. The 2 of the children came to Waterloo with me. One was in college, and the second girl was a senior in high school, and so we left her with her grandparents so she could finish her senior year down there. And so just the 2 boys and us came up here.
Okay. And how many grandchildren do you have?
Oh, God.
Let's see.
Jeannie's counting.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's one. We only have 6 grandchildren. I was doing the great.
Okay.
Oh, the greats.
And you have great grandchildren.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2, I think, 2 or 3 great-grandchildren. One was just born. 5 great-grandchildren. Holy cow.
Time goes fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And they just come out of the woodwork.
Oh, no, that wasn't where they came out of. But
Well, they call you on the telephone and say you have another baby.
yeah, that's what they do.
You bet. And I know your family has come here to visit
Right.
oftentimes, and they have motorhomes.
Yes, the one. In fact, he's coming up Father's Day. He has a home in Arkansas, and then he also has a fifth wheel. And he used to, for 3 years, was it? They lived in that fifth wheel full time.
Oh, yeah.
And now they live in it only part time, and they'll be coming up in the fifth wheel for Father's Day. Yeah.
Oh, great. Great.
And how long have you lived at Friendship Village?
In Friendship Village, just a little over 8 years.
8 years. Very
Yeah.
good. And what do you like about living here?
I don't want to sound facetious, but I like everything about it, and I mean that. I just, I have absolutely nothing I could complain about here. It's a good place. I've made some great friends here. My God, it's just wonderful. With our new friends that you make, and you do it so easy and so quick because the people here are so friendly.
Jeannie, what is your take on that?
Well, one thing I remember, I really didn't want to move here yet when we came. And then we weren't here very long, and I came upstairs, and Frank said, "What have you been doing?" I said, "Well, I was visiting with some people down there." And he said, he was just amazed that I was already, picking up, and it was very easy to get to know people and visit with them.
Well, the reason I was so surprised is because it used to be quite hard for you to make new friends. You were kind of a standoff type, but
Was she shy?
Yeah, but you made friends here real quickly.
I became unshy as a telephone operator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to speak up for yourself.
And you're getting involved in all the activities here, too. And like we have said with many of our guests before, you can do what activities you want to, or
Right.
you don't have to.
Right.
It's whatever you like, and they offer a nice variety of things to do.
That's very true. Yes, very true.
Hey, we're going to take a break in this stimulating interview while we just hit a couple other spots.
Okay.
One of them we just want to bring up as a reminder to the listeners that this program is being brought to you by the Village Lane Food Service Department.
Right.
And again, we just take off our hats. Oh, can you hear that in the background? That's Frank's grandfather clock. We'll just pause while grandfather chimes out 2. We're at 2 o'clock.
Right.
1, 2. All right. Thank you, Mr. Clock.
And speaking of a grandfather clock, Frank made the clock.
Yeah.
As he is, and as we look around, we are in their apartment. We aren't in our regular recording studio today. we came over to their apartment. And as you look around their apartment, there are many wood pieces that Frank has done, and they're just beautiful. So if you want to look at them, come up and knock on their door and say, I want to see your wood pieces.
Really? Okay, yeah, that'd be good. All right. So thank you, food service staff. And let me, before we jump back into the interview, let me just share another quick story. Okay. A couple weeks ago, I was at a church dinner, and one of the ladies in the kitchen yelled out, "Does anyone know CPR?" So I said, "Sure, I know the whole alphabet." Everybody laughed except there was this one guy. He didn't laugh. He was the guy that was supposed to get the CPR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That goes along with a little joke I have.
Oh.
It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up.
That's right.
Yep. Frank, I know you've told stories at different times about your experiences as kind of a upper level Red Cross volunteer person
Oh, yes.
who's gone to many disasters, right?
Yes. I used to go down to all the hurricanes and floods and windstorms and help people out, and that was the most gratifying thing I think I've ever done. If I could, I'm too old now, but if I could do it now, I would. It's just so gratifying when you hand a hungry person a meal, and it just does something for you, and I wish I could still do it. And the one thing, Jeannie's heard this story so many times, but the one that stands out in my mind, it was down in Arcadia, Florida, after a hurricane, and the hurricane hit on Friday, and of course, it's a long ways down to Arcadia, Florida, so we didn't get there till Monday noon. Most of them hadn't even eaten since Friday, and they were very hungry. And I handed this lady a meal, and I would say she was in her 60s, maybe. And she said, "Sir," she looked me right in the eye, and she said, "Sir, you may not realize this, but you're an angel of God." And it just made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, because she was dead serious. And
Yeah.
that Red Cross stuff, I made numerous trips down to hurricanes and stuff, but that was a very gratifying experience in my life.
Well, we've heard a lot of good things about the Red Cross, and it's worldwide, more or less.
Yes.
Because when my husband died, the Red Cross brought my grandson home for his funeral.
Sure.
And when my sister's daughter died, they brought the gal that died, her twin brother, home from overseas for the funeral. So the Red Cross has many arms and
They do.
reaches out to many, many people. So we are very grateful to them and their service also.
They do a great
Yes.
job.
Yeah, I didn't know the Red Cross did that kind of thing.
Yes, they do.
Bring home
Yes, they do.
servicemen.
Oh, yeah.
They did that for our daughter-in-law. They were in Germany, and her dad passed away in Ohio, and they arranged for her to get back for the funeral.
Wow.
When my wife died, they were very helpful. My brother at that time was in the Navy, and he was a pilot. He flew off of the carrier, and well, when she died, of course, they were right out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. But anyway, the Red Cross got in touch with my brother for me to tell him that my wife had died. You're right; they do a lot of different things. And
Yes.
yeah, they're very good organization. Yeah, along that line, if you retire and you're young enough and physical enough to get out and do anything, get in touch with the Red Cross and do some work with them in helping people. There will be a period, if you do that, they will spend some time in training. They will train you what to do. They will train you how to approach. They'll train you the whole program, so that when you go out to a disaster, you won't be completely lost about what you should do or how you should handle it, because they've trained you before you go.
It's good to know. Very good to know.
Yeah, they. Like I say, I can't say enough nice about them, because it affected my life, so to speak, because it just really. I wish I could do it again.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't say anything bad about Red Cross. You couldn't say anything bad about Friendship Village. So You're just kind of an upbeat, positive sort of
Yeah,
guy.
I am. You know,
Yeah,
I just
that's
like when I was a deputy sheriff. Gosh, I loved that, and I really.
Did you carry around one bullet? Like
No,
me?
no. Everybody teased me about that when I was a deputy, about carrying the one bullet. No, I had a full load.
So, did the two of you have children?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
John and Joe were 11 and 14 when we were married.
okay.
And so it was an enlightening moment for me. You know, I always enjoyed cooking, and I guess they liked things that I made, you know.
Sure.
But it was an adjustment. Let's put it that way, because I had been single. I was in my mid-30s when I married Frank, so I had been single a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that it was hard for me because I was working third shift, and boy, when I had to go off, I'd leave about 10 o'clock at night to go to work, and there was those two boys in the house by themselves, and it just worried me sick to do that. And then Jeannie stepped in and made my life much easier.
And how long have you two been married, did you say?
It'll be 48 years in July.
48. Wonderful. Wonderful.
We didn't think. Well, I had been to a trip over in Europe, and this couple had a 12-and-a-half anniversary, which I thought was I was with my brother.
12 and a half?
Yes, so we often wondered if we'd make 12-and-a-half.
Yeah, we made 48, and my first marriage was 20, so I've been married a long time.
A long time, yes.
Okay.
Well, I think living at Friendship Village kind of helps. I think life is good here.
Yes.
We get our food. We get a lot of services done with many different parts, and medical, and we can rest and.
There's no pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah.
We can just kind of live a wonderful retired life.
Yes.
So we're going to live longer.
I hope so. Well, I know I will, because my family didn't live near as long as I have, and maybe as long as I deserve. Maybe I don't deserve it to be this long, but I think I agree with you. I think you live longer because you have a more relaxed life here.
What I notice is if you're in your home and you have a water leak or any problem with the refrigerator or anything, you got to call for help. Here we just call the front desk, and bam, the help arrives and takes care of the problem. And
Yeah, there's no pressure.
no, it's
No
it's
pressure.
great.
So happy now that I moved here. I know Jenny was a little reluctant to it, but I know she's happy with it now, and it made a lot of difference. I really think that people, when you get old enough to retire, and you know, one of the things that they kept telling me when we were still in our home, don't wait too long to move into a place like this. Don't wait too long, and that is so important. And we didn't, even though Jeannie didn't really want to at the time. But we're here now. We've been here a long time, and
Well, the other advice I would say for anyone who might be listening is thinking about coming here, there could be somebody like that in our audience, is when you go to thin out your house, when like we came, we had like 30 years in the same house, and a lot of stuff had accumulated, and so we had to face the task: how do we thin things out? So we did do our thinning, and we thought we did a fine job, but when we got here, it was too much.
Is that
So we should have doubled up on what we left behind or got rid of.
yeah, that was one of the reasons we got this big apartment. We got rid of a lot of stuff, but we wanted to be able to take care of the rest of it, and we were pretty lucky, I think.
Yeah, we probably overdid it. I think we had luckily a person who kind of helped us decide what would work and where it would fit. And she did dissuade me on a few things, but I won out. I managed to work it in and
Okay.
in it. But if we had to move again, we'd have to downsize for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we looked at Village Place, and just nothing compared to what we had, you know. So we thought, just stay right here.
Well, I've moved 3 times, and I've downsized 3 times.
Is that right?
So I hope I'm done.
Okay.
So I guess you always have too much stuff anyway.
Yeah, you do.
And then your poor family has to get stuck with trying to do something with it.
And you know, the thing is, it's just stuff.
It is stuff.
It's just stuff.
Yeah.
It's more stuff to you than me.
Well, I guess, but it's just stuff.
Sometimes with a little sentimental value, of course.
Well, yes.
But
And Mary mentioned a minute ago that clock that I made. You know, I put about 9 months building that clock, and it's got a lot of sentimental attachment to me. You know, I would hate to get rid of it too soon. Too soon. You wait till I'm not needing anything else, and then you can get rid of it.
so that might be the last item left in your apartment, huh?
It could be. Yes, it could be. Yeah, and this curio cabinet too. I made, this is my second one. The first one I made, this lady who is a very dear friend of Jeannie's, she wanted that curio cabinet, so I gave it to her, and then I built this one, and so I made a couple of those. But
Well, listen, we're coming to the close of our time together, and it's been a great time interviewing these folks. We appreciate you letting us do it.
oh, sure,
And,
Quite all right.
sharing your lives and your.
kind of enjoy doing it. I think.
Okay.
Well, you've enjoyed having a married couple and get their take on things.
Yeah, it's different,
that's-
isn't it? Different
yes.
than a single.
Yes.
It sure is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this has been good. So we try to put a variety into our podcast, and like Phil has said before and hasn't mentioned it yet today, if you know of anybody that would be interested in being interviewed, or if while you're listening to this, if you would like to be interviewed, please contact the front desk at either of the buildings. Let them know that you want to do it, and they will contact Phil or I, and we can set up something.
Yes.
Because you just don't know what interesting lives people have until you get into a little in-depth talking like we're doing.
Yeah.
And I find it very interesting. I have just enjoyed every single one we have done.
So anyway, let's close. Okay, it's time for Trivia Pursuit. The answers to the questions. What is the name of the prehistoric town where they lived? It is
Bedrock.
Bedrock. Mary, you got it right. Bedrock. And what were the names of Barney and Fred's children?
Pebbles and Bam Bam.
Pebbles and Bam Bam. Gosh, you're right again, Mary.
What's my prize?
Just the honor and distinction of having answered the first trivia questions correctly.
Or having my children watch the Flintstones for many years.
Yeah.
Oh, that helps.
Yes,
That helps.
yes.
Yeah. Don't forget Yabba Dabba Doo.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, folks. We're at the close, and we thank you for listening in. And be sure and stay tuned for another broadcast of the Voice of Friendship Village. And before we go, let me just say, may the good Lord bless and keep you till we meet again. Bye, Friendship Village.
Goodbye and have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye.